Good evening, TC.
How are you?
I'm okay, and good evening, everybody, and welcome to our weekly podcast, Terry Curran's The Curran View, with the Isle of Hillsborough, Mr. Terry Curran. Steady away, son. How are you?
Well, I'm getting a bit better. As each day goes by, I'm getting better.
Good. I have posted a couple of podcasts onto the Curran View group today, TC. We're going to be talking about one of the reels that are posted up with you and Simon a little bit later in the podcast. I think with something like about 2,000 views it's already had, so well done to you and Simon. Magic moments. You created some magic moments back in the 70s and the early 80s. What magic moments have you sourced for us this week, T?
Again, now everything's back up and running again. Some fabulous goals and fabulous magic moments. But I've gone for two really this week. One is a simple goal, but absolutely so coolly finished by Maddison and his first goal for Tottenham.
Yeah.
But my main magic moment was Song's goal. How he shifted it out of his body, opened his body up, and placed it right into the top corner. Absolutely fabulous goal. I love to see goals bent in like that.
There's something special when a ball gets bent in, when a ball hits the bar and goes in, when it hits that kind of the crossbar and the post and goes in. Them goals always seem a little bit more special than your average goal.
You know your goalkeepers, and you look as though you think they'd jammy someone.
Yeah. You could have two goalkeepers, but they wouldn't stop that. If the shot is perfect, like with Son it is, and he has a wonderful ability to score those kind of goals. I mean, he's not one that scores simple tap-ins. They're usually
He's got some great goals,
yeah,
yes, doesn't he?
they're usually a fantastic strike or one where he's dribbling, and then he just puts it in the back of the net. He's rarely one that's in the 6-yard box, the ball bounces off the goalkeeper or hits the post or hits the bar, and there he's there just to knock in the rebounds. He's not that kind of forward, but he is a tremendous forward, isn't he?
Great pace and all, you know. He's
Absolutely.
got great pace.
Do you remember that
I mean,
goal?
we're both admirers of Maddison, but he looks even more unbelievable at Tottenham.
Absolutely. Do you remember that goal he scored? Was it a couple of years ago now? Was it against Burnley, where he'd run from pretty much his own half and scored, Son? I mean, he's got everything in his locker.
You're right. He's got everything. He's a good head of a ball and all.
I just think he's got everything about him, and I think he's got a great personality. He seems to be a good leader, although lots of people were saying, oh, Son's not a leader. Well, he's leading his Tottenham team all the way to the summit of the Premier League, and long may it continue. And apparently he's found a love of darts with James Maddison as well.
Yeah, they seem to get on, don't they? You can see that.
I'll tell you what I liked.
They both have the affection for each other.
Absolutely. I'll tell you what I liked as well. Because when people look at him and they go, oh, he's too nice, like Sonny, he's always smiling, he's nice. Maddison, he got in the way of when Maddison had a shot and Son was just about to pull the trigger. And I tell you, I don't know what he said. It may have been in Korean, but he wasn't happy with Maddison. Because, you know, he's still got that professionalism. I want to win at all costs in him. He's got that nasty streak. As nice as he looks on the outside, he's still got that ruthless and winning streak on the inside.
You don't get that time having that ruthlessness about you.
Absolutely, T. Absolutely. And long may it continue, because I do like to watch Tottenham. When Tottenham are on the telly, I'll watch Spurs. What game are you watching at the moment, and what game was you watching earlier?
I watched the Barcelona game.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of kids in there, and he's got obviously one or two senior players what's hitting the mid-30s.
Yeah.
But I've come into the bedroom. I don't know what Jock's done to this guy, so I don't know what game Thomas was watching in the room. So I've not got anything on it. I'm trying to find how to get it on, but the technology for me with these two bypasses me.
Tell me about it. Mind you, he had a great treble last night, Tommy Ladd, didn't he? So towards the end...
Oh, Tommy got up last night.
Yeah, he did,
Jock had a £20 9-timer, and Portsmouth let him down for 2,500.
There's always one when you have 9.
Yeah.
But Tommy
It's every
had,
week, me, one team.
yeah, Tommy had a roll up, didn't he? 3
He had a
teams.
treble, yeah.
Yeah, and so going forward on the podcast, let's have a Tommy treble at the end of at the podcast and see if we can earn our listeners some
Celtic's
money.
gone 1-0 up, by the way.
Well, you know me, I don't like politics and football. Man City should have gone 1-0 up. Jack done ever so well down the left-hand side, put a ball in, and Nunes just smashed it over the bar. But Grealish has started on fire. Nice to see him getting his starting shirt again. But yeah,
And Rooney's having a bit of a bad start to Birmingham. They gave him beat 1-0, so...
Are they really?
Yeah.
A difficult game, I think, tonight. Rosini, I think, has done a really good job at Hull City. I know they got beat the weekend, but I do like him, and I think they're a dark horse
I
for the
thought Birmingham
playoffs.
played quite well on Saturday, but they've had a hell of a run as Middlesbrough.
Again,
they were down there with Sheffield Wednesday to win a game.
But you identify Carrick as a great manager.
Well, I said to him he'd set off bad.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make any difference to me because every great manager's practically been sacked.
Absolutely, and also as well, his 2 main strikers, goal scorers last season, have up and left, haven't they? So he's almost starting again with a front system, and you can have all the ball in that you like in a game. If you can't put the ball into the back of the net, you're not going to win games of football.
You've got to have a great goal scorer, and you've got to have a really, really, really top elite goalkeeper.
Absolutely,
and that's half of your battle.
Absolutely, and Carrick now looks as though he's turned it round. And watch Middlesbrough again; they could be a dark horse for the champions.
Set off really well and all that into Championship, haven't they?
Great season last season. McKenna's done really well this season. I don't think he's added that much to his playing staff, but he plays a lovely brand of football. And we watched him a few times last season in League One, of course. Play some great football, and I think that if you do play football and play football in the right way, you're going to get results, regardless of what these claims
the
keep telling you
good
about
teams
Burnley.
and the good managers.
Yeah.
Will keep adding to it. You don't need to get 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 players in straight away, do you?
2, maybe 3, I always say. At the end of a season, 2, maybe 3. If you've got 7, 8 or 9, forget it. It's too many to integrate, wasting your time. 2 or 3, just keep it ticking over, and that's what all the top teams do. And whether you're at the top or you're at the middle or you're at the bottom, that's your formula for success. Playing football the way that you want to play football, on the front foot, play the ball forward. It ain't rocket science. It's not a really difficult game to understand. And just add a couple of players each season that are better than the players that you've had in previous seasons, and you'll probably find that you'll start improving and doing better.
Overall, if you've got an half decent team and you're doing well in any league, you just keep adding to it.
Yeah.
Right, maybe 1, 2, 3 players at most.
Yeah.
You'll find out that you'll sustain good runs, and your manager will be there for a long periods of time.
Absolutely, T. And in terms of Celtic, I did see all this. I don't like politics in football. We try not to talk about politics on the Curran View. I saw all the flags and that, and I instantly turned it off. And I'm watching Manchester City. Before my magic moments, I did watch Feyenoord earlier. They smashed Lazio 3-1.
I've seen that where you've posted up that the team to watch.
Tell you what, I thought there was a tremendous side. They have got some players, Feyenoord have, playing with a lot of confidence, and at that ground as well, a tight ground to keep. They look a formidable force. I wouldn't fancy drawing them in when they get through to the knockouts. I know that a number of teams will go, oh, it's only Feyenoord, they're from the Eredivisie, easy target here. But no, I think that they've got some good players, and I can see 1 or 2 of them players coming to the Premier League, because that's the problem in Holland. They haven't got the money. They don't pay good money out. I think as a direct result, that's why Ajax are struggling, and they're so bad that they've had to sell so many players over the last few years. And you can't just keep...
The last few years, they've done that for the last 20 years, I would imagine, haven't they?
They have, but I think over the last few years, I think it's just caught up, because I just don't think you can keep going to the well, can you? It looks as though it's dried up a little bit for Ajax.
Well,
but
those 3 top teams there,
team.
Ajax,
yeah,
PSG and Eindhoven, they do get the top players in that country, don't they?
Yeah, you got
And
PSV Eindhoven, Ajax, and Feyenoord. Them are the
yeah,
top three, aren't they?
and then they'll get the 4 or 5 quality young players coming from abroad. So you're right, but that's the reason why it does help those big three in Holland.
Absolutely, and of course, Feyenoord are from Rotterdam, not Amsterdam. My magic moments: Dougie and Ollie scoring for Aston Villa against West Ham
Well, they
United.
are playing well then.
They're on fire at now, 11 straight wins in the Premier League. I asked Tom on Friday night, I said, how do you think you'll get on Sunday? He said, we'll get beat. I said, what are you basing that on? He said, well, we can't keep winning. I said, well, you actually can.
But I get that. I do get that.
You're going to lose
I'm
at
Tom
some
like
stage, ain't you? At some stage, you're going to. But you know, too, you've played at the highest level. When you keep winning games, it gives you
Oh, it breeds
confidence.
confidence. The reason why I'm going with Tom, because they're a good team, is Aston Villa.
Yeah,
West Ham are playing quite well.
they're a
And
good
I
team.
get that. You can't keep winning. The Manchester Cities and the Liverpools of this world, when the Man United, when they were at the peak, winning majority of the games, eventually it will come. But I get where Tom's coming from.
They'll probably draw
But,
against
you,
Luton the
but I
weekend.
understand you, because Aston Villa, at the moment in time, the place is rocking.
It certainly is. I mean, I posted that up, and I posted for some seasons now. And again, as a Birmingham City fan, I take quite a bit of stick. But I do think that Villa
But
are
you're
on the
fair.
cusp. I am fair,
I'm a
yeah.
Sheffield Wednesday fan, but if anybody beats us playing better football,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm supposed to praise them.
Absolutely. And
You
I've
know,
been on the alt end, and that atmosphere. I've always heard from Birmingham City fans. Birmingham, it's more of an atmosphere at St Andrews than it is at Villa. All the Villa fans are out of Birmingham, and Birmingham City are the team of Birmingham, the heartbeat of the city. And I'm like, seriously, guys, I don't think any of you have actually stood on the alt or been in there, or you're so biased you don't really understand, or you don't believe what you're saying. You can't do that. Atmosphere at Aston Villa at the alt end is absolutely rocking. Unai Emery has done a phenomenal job. They've got some great owners, and that team are buzzing at the minute.
I do understand. I do understand why Gerrard and them fail.
Yeah.
But I still find it difficult
Same
to
here.
it baffles me that to play at the highest level and have the respect he's had in the game, and yet fail.
I know, it's incredible, isn't it?
Is it part of it that they look, the players can't do what they could do? Because it's just about coaching, It's about balancing a team up.
Yeah.
And having management, getting the best out of players what you've got, and knowing the ones that you can be a little bit more heavy on than some of the others. It's when I look at Gerrard and Lampard, I think to myself, why have they failed? Yeah. Even Gary Neville, because his knowledge of the game, whether people
good.
like him or not, it's phenomenal.
No, it is, yeah.
And you'd have thought he'd have had something about him, And I mean, all his mates, Carragher, all them take the piss about him being at Valencia, and I get that, I get it. But I find it very strange that these keep failing. Is it that they want to follow in the managers who they've been with footsteps? And that can never happen. There'll never be another Brian Clough.
No,
they're one-offs. They're one-offs. You Bob Paisley, they're one-offs. Your Guardiola's are one-offs.
Yeah.
So you cannot. You can take some of their ideas, but you can never coach or manage. Not coach, but you can never manage like they manage, because that will fail straight away.
100%. 100%. And whether it's a little bit of that, whether the man management skills aren't that great, whether players look at them, they come in this dressing room and think, what a great player he was, and are in awe of him. And then when they start coaching them and managing them, they're thinking, he's a bit of a tosspot, really, to be fair.
Yep.
And that crown all of a sudden falls off their head. I don't know. It is baffling, as you say. But Unai Emery, fantastic job.
There's something radically wrong with the English coaching system and the English coaches. I mean, Emery, has he won 4 of those?
I think so. Yeah,
I think he's won 4 of them.
Yeah.
Yes, he went to Arsenal and he struggled at Arsenal. Now, was that because they built that new stadium and they weren't spending
He followed
money or
Wenger, didn't he?
whatsoever? But he's gone to Aston Villa,
Mm,
and they look at different opposition, don't they?
absolutely. He followed Arsene Wenger. You know, Moisey follows Ferguson. You know, you're best not following these. I remember doing a podcast with Alan Clark, and he was saying Brian Clough was the right man, but just at the wrong time. And and when you're following Don Revie, when you're following these legends of football management, it really is a hard act, especially when you've got them same
I
players
get
that
that.
are bought into what the manager's been telling them. You've got to kind of try and change things, and sometimes you do it a little bit too quickly.
I get that. I
Mm,
mean, I went into every football club I went into. Right, it's very difficult when you go into football clubs
mm,
when you've already got established players there with names there.
yeah.
It never bothered me one little bit that.
Mm,
Cloughy, it never bothered him.
mm.
I don't think they gave him time at Forest, at
Derby? No, they
Leeds.
never. Sorry,
But he
Leeds, yeah.
goes to Forest in
Mm,
the second division,
yeah.
turns it round, bit scruff of his neck, and goes on to win 2 European Cups. All right, he won one league title at what they call him, one at Derby.
Yeah.
But what was happening then, that
Mm,
the Premier League were coming into it, and the big money were always going to do the medium-sized football clubs, the
mm,
Forests, the Derbys, the Leicesters of this world, and we know Leicester's gone on to win it. But there is something radically wrong with our coaches
mm.
and our coaching system, because people say to me, well, Mourinho wasn't a good player, a top player. Wenger weren't a top player. Who's the other one?
Well, I mean,
Klopp weren't a top player.
there's an awful lot
That's
of
three.
good
That's
managers
three.
that wasn't brilliant players.
Right, that's three.
Mm,
But you look at the rest of them, especially on continent, the Guardiolas of this world.
mm,
Zidane.
yeah.
I mean, he's not, for some unknown reason, not gone back into football yet. Why, I don't know.
Mm.
Cruyff, Beckenbauer. There's loads of them, loads of Portuguese managers, all been top players and gone on to be successful.
Zidane's got a problem.
What's that?
He's won 3 European Cups with Real Madrid. How do you better that? That's his problem that he's got.
I thought it was. Well, there was talk about him taking the
French job.
French job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Will he be the next Manchester United manager?
Could
Let's
be.
watch this space.
Could be. You never know. He would have to have a massive club to manage. Because again, how do you? It's like the Beatles had 3 number ones, on the spot. How do you get? How do you write the next one? It's very difficult when you've
Well,
had such great success, but
when
it
you've
is
got
possible.
when you've got 3 geniuses in there what can write songs,
Absolutely.
then that gives you that. But
Yeah.
what Zidane will want at Man United, not only will he want Man United, he'd take Man United job.
Mm.
He's got to be guaranteed that the players that he wants, they're going to sign.
100%.
Not the ones, we ain't got him, so we'll have him.
Mm.
Right?
He will want to be.
I mean, I thought Ten Hag was going to be the right man for it. They won the FA Cup.
Yeah.
They got him into Champions League. But they never really, really produced an elite football, have they?
No.
And I thought they were shambolic last night.
Yeah, I never watched him.
I mean, I don't like saying, I'll criticise coaches with the coaching and how they play. But that's constructive criticism.
Absolutely.
I'm not one of them who will turn around and say, well, they're not playing for him. But last night I wrote, they don't look as though they're playing for him.
Yeah, I noticed that. Mind you, at the end of the game, I'd switched off. I was watching Napoli, which leads me nicely to my other magic moment. Cavascalia, his brace for Napoli away at Verona, and his assist last night for Raspadori. That kid, he's just got magic in his boots. He dances through a game. I think he's a tremendous player. In my opinion, the greatest player.
He's going to be coming into the Premier League with one of the elite clubs in.
You would have thought so. I mean, Bellingham. You would have thought that Bellingham would have gone, but he's gone to Real Madrid. So
listen, I've told you before about this.
Mm.
You can have Liverpool, you can have Man United, you can have Juventus, you can have Bayern Munich all rolled into one.
Yep.
If Barcelona and Real Madrid come calling for any player in the world, that's where they go.
100%, and that's where I'm going. Will Cavascalia go to Real Madrid or a Barcelona. Who knows?
Well,
Watch this space.
what I'm trying to say, it'll come when I say it'll come to the Premier
Yeah.
League, that may be his first port of call,
Maybe.
and then onto one of the two, because even Man United and Liverpool, once Real Madrid come in and Barcelona, they take any of our players from this country.
Absolutely. But Kvaratskhelia walks into any team on this planet.
And I must admit, those five posts that you keep posting up with goals and magic moments,
they're tremendous,
brilliant,
aren't they?
absolutely brilliant.
And that leads me nicely onto my other last magic moment. Liam Sercombe's goal for Cheltenham against Cambridge. I looked at all five. And there was some fabulous goals from the EFL. But the way that that Liam took the ball and just chipped it, the ball was going away and he just chipped it right-footed, right in the top corner across the goalkeeper. I just thought it was just a sublime bit of skill to be able to do that. And so that's why I picked that one out rather than some of the other shots.
I'm trying to think of the kid who scored for Wrexham last night. That was a great goal.
I didn't see that.
That was a great goal.
Sutton are really struggling, aren't they?
Yeah. They've got as far as they can get. You know, I mean, they come up those teams, and they may have 2 or 3 seasons in there, but eventually they do drop out. And Southampton's gone 1-0 up. Preston had a great start, and they've had a bad run.
Yeah, Southampton. He looks as though he's really turning it around there.
Back round again.
Yeah, Book Corner in association with myfootballbooks.com, and usually always gives us one of his recommendations. And this week, it's football's 50 most important moments. Excuse me, by Ben Jones and Gareth Thomas from the writers of the Football History Boys blog. Absolute legends. What they don't know isn't worth knowing, because they've probably forgot all that I will ever know with the history, etc., of football, and all that's in this wonderful book, Football's 50 Most Important Moments. And Andy also gives us an on this day, and it's on this day 26, which is tomorrow when the podcast will come out, of October, in 1863. It's seen as the starting date of organised football, when a meeting at the Freemasons Tavern in London's Great Queen Street, the FA was formed in 1863, and that is one of the chapters in this fantastic book of the boys, the history boys. Sheffield FC. It starts off with in 1857. The formation of the Football Association is on page 15, as we just mentioned. First FA Cup, match of the century, England Supergar air disaster. It's an absolute encyclopedia of the history of football. So a fantastic read, and one that I've got in my library. Book number 2, our friend Ian Storymore. The book's out now. Give It to Moore, Who Will Score? The authorised biography, The Man Clough Couldn't Buy, literally. Forward by your pal, Martin O'Neill, and written by Stuart Humphreys and Richard Harrison. And I've recently done a couple of podcasts. Well, I've done a Legends podcast with Storymore, and I've done a catch-up, a chapter of my life with Ian Storymore, Book Corner Extra Time, as we call it, in New Money, where Ian talked to me about how he decided to take on the book with the boys. And it's a fascinating listen, because when I done my first Legends podcast with Ian Storymore, I said to Storymore, why haven't you got a book out? And he said, I've never really fancied writing one, Gabby. Well, he does explain why he did have this authorised biography by Stuart Humphreys and Richard Harrison in the latest podcast. All our podcast, guys, all the W's patreon.com/SRB Media, or Spotify, Acast, or anywhere else that you access your podcasts.
And not only a great player, an absolutely gentleman.
Absolute top bloke, hasn't he? He gives me a lot of his time. And I will be hooking up with Storymore in the next couple of weeks to get his starting 11, with players that he's played with, and I think that's going to be another little series that we'll do. I'll get your starting 11, TC, Alan Hudson's, and a few of the other boys, but give it to Moore. He will score. Fantastic authorised biography. The man that Cloughie couldn't buy, and literally he couldn't buy. Cloughie tried to, and of course he told Storymore that he'd signed him. That's why Storymore signed and was paraded on the pitch against Wolves that one Saturday afternoon. But Cloughie just didn't tell him that the Forest board wouldn't sanction it, so he couldn't be a Derby player. He said, "But that's Brian."
That would never happen today, that would it?
No, it wouldn't. But he said, "That's Brian." And he said to that day forward, Cloughie never ever spoke to him.
Yeah.
Never spoke to him.
I mean,
He said,
it's not his fault, was it? But, when Man
Storymore,
United
absolutely no.
in Derby, I know it was Cloughie, but it's still Man United, the big club in England.
Well, the thing is, there was talk of Storymore going to Manchester United. Cloughie got word that he was going to go to Man United, so Cloughie tried to get in and take him to Derby, and he would have, but the Forest board wouldn't sanction the move because I think there was Henry Newton and one or two others.
I know how he works behind the scenes, Clough, because I know how he got me. So he'll have done the same thing with Ian Storymore and locked him in there until he he'd signed the contract
in one of the rooms in the Midland Hotel in Nottingham. Derby, young man sign here.
You're leaving nowhere and come and give me a kiss, will you, please?
Oh, what a character. I mean, they don't make them like Brian anymore, do they? And finally, I'm doing a podcast with the author of this book tomorrow, Jake Rusby, Newcastle United, match of my life. Jake Rusby and Alex Crook, Alex that works is top football correspondent at TalkSport. So you'll hear Alex quite a lot on TalkSport. And they have got a big gig that I'm going to be talking about to Jake. I think it's up there in Whitby in November time when Supermax up there and one or two other legends of Newcastle United. The book, Match of My Life, is tales of matches of their lives by Newcastle legends. It starts off with Dan Burn, Alan Shearer's in there, Les Ferdinand, Malcolm MacDonald, Nobby Solano, Bobby Moncur, Rob Lee, and Frank Clark is in there, and he talks about the game that he played and scored in. I think it was his only goal, wasn't it? When they beat Doncaster 6-0.
I played in that game.
It has the lineup, because I'm sure you said that you did play in that game.
I did play in that game. It was a League Cup game.
Yeah, it was a League Cup game, yeah.
I played in that game.
Let me just...
Definitely played in that game. Listen, he scored. I think that was the only goal he scored.
It was, yeah.
There's 16,000 fans there, and you thought there were like 600,000 fans there.
I will have a word with Jake tomorrow regarding that, because it says that League Cup second round, Monday the 8th of October 1973, St James's Park, attendance 14,865.
What did I say?
16, yeah. In goal for Doncaster, it was Buck, Reid, Turnant, Irving, Brooks, Wignall, Murray, Elwis, O'Callaghan, Kitchen, Moore and Higgins come on as sub.
I'll guarantee you I played in that game.
Yeah, I'll have a word with him there. We reckon he's got the lineup wrong, so we will question the lineup. But that was Frank Clark's pick.
That same day, I remember when we pulled up Doncaster, Malcolm MacDonald pulled up. He got a red sports car. I forget what type of sports car.
Yeah.
And it was just obviously pressing the button and getting the roof to come back up again. I played in that game, definitely played in that game. And Sheffield Wednesday game beat 1-0. Unbelievable, Jeff.
Unbelievable. Well, they're not winning many games this season. It's not looking good, is it, for Sheffield Wednesday? But it is looking good for Jake and Alex. Match of my life. And this book interests me in particular because we do a series Game of My Life, and we've got to catch up to and get your memories of that wonderful game of your life that you played in Boxing Day Massacre in
Well, we might as well do it
1979.
now in December time, haven't we?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely. We was going to do it last year, but we just didn't have time. So, it's coming up November, December time now. So we will do a Game of My Life, the Boxing Day Massacre, when Wednesday put Sheffield United to the sword. Some great stories there, and it's an iconic game.
And to listen to the rest of this podcast, head on over to www.patreon.com/SRB Media. Thank you.